Walking into a radio station when I was a teenager and hearing the announcer on the speaker before I saw him, all of a sudden I found this love for this type of business. He was telling this incredible story, and I don't know what it was about at this time, but it just got me so involved and so interested that I knew I had to become part of this world. So I was 16 years old then, and I slowly started working in the industry, starting at 17, getting involved in college. That's where I met Kevin on the college radio station. Radio taught me about how to tell a story when you can't see the person's face. The power of audio, the power of what somebody has to say, rather than just certain words. What it was all about. I had to write commercials for different small businesses, and to understand what they were trying to sell without selling. It was about storytelling. So then as I continued along on my career, I was doing more radio. I did love song shows. I did buy, trade, and sell shows. I had people calling up asking for music I know nothing about. So there I am as a 20-year-old kid, like trying to find Tom Jones, and who is this? Like learning about the music. Now I think I know everything about Tom. Engelbert Humperdinck. You could probably ask me any question. I think I know that. But all these different types of things I had to learn on the fly. But I loved every minute of it. I loved listening to that music. When I got off the air and I just listened to the music going without even really knowing it, I just was enamored by it. Got totally lost in the music, and I think it came across right. So I continued on. Radio wasn't paying a living, so I had to find something else. And what could it be? I went into television. TV was a medium that was so exciting, so intriguing, that I knew that I found where my home would be, and that's been the last 30 years. I made a reputation for myself that I was going to be the best person I could be with any job I've done within this industry. And it's been a pretty decent success of stuff. I started in TV with the channel called CNBC, some people may know that channel, and it expanded on, and I worked my way up. Now, I'm lucky to say that I'm part of the executives of our new company called Versant Media, which has CNBC and it's now Golf Channel, E, all of that. And it's been a great ride. So I could have come up here after Kevin gave me that introduction and said, hey, I'm Richard Rossillo. I work in television. But instead I wanted to tell you a little bit of story about me. And so hopefully that we can connect on some level. We can reach some type of human interaction. And that is what really is all about with your businesses too. You are the brand. I've said that way back when I started mentoring some people in my industry, because they're not a business, but they're their own personal business. My father, who was in this business, taught me a lot of things, and he gave a lot of great things in my life, except the one huge heartache is being a Mets fan. But and he and I share that pain, but it's a pain that I enjoy. What the hell, right? It's only been, 30 years since they won the World Series, but hey, maybe I hope I can live enough that they win it again. But he told me when I first started my career, he was happy that I got into his business, but he said, you have to go in there and be a brand from the moment you walk in there. I didn't know what he was talking about. When you walk in those doors, it's all about you. Richard is the brand. You are a worker, you're going to do a certain job. But every single time, who are you? The same goes for your businesses. I met this lovely young lady here. It was her first time, and she was telling me about what she does, a baker. Well, all right, so I bake cookies, cakes, blah, blah, blah. No, she has a story behind that, and I want everybody, I hope, to hear from her and to listen to what she said. She is, if I might get this wrong, because it was a quick story, but she bakes for nonprofits. What a wonderful story that is. She could have said, well, I like to bake cookies, I'm going to start a bakery. But she went the extra mile to get a business, get a license so she can sell or donate to nonprofits. That's a story. And for me, I'd be like, well, I'm going to check this out. I want to support that type of a person, that type of a business. Every one of you has that story too. When I bought an apartment years ago, I need to get all redone. So I spoke to a couple of people I knew, didn't know them that well. They came over, looked over my apartment, gave me some estimates. They were just in and out, just very, like, I'm gonna knock this wall down and do that, and blah, blah, blah. Here's the price. I just didn't feel this connection to somebody. But then, and this was just on a whim, I opened the phone book when there were phone books back in the day. And I said, I'm gonna try this guy. Something, I don't know what it was, but my intuition said, let me call him. I called him, he came over, came inside. I said, boy, what a nice man. So we just started talking, started giving me ideas. But then he went into his whole life story of why he was involved in carpentry. He loved working with his hands. We talked about his days when he was in Brazil. He didn't have to talk about any of this. And I didn't even ask him. We just started talking little things. Where are you from? Oh, because I get the accent. I'm from Brazil. We talked about my parents. My mother came from Italy. We had a good connection. It turns out he has worked with me now for the last 25 years. He's a craftsman, and I will recommend him to anybody. I don't know what his logo looks like. I don't know what his van looks like, anything like that. It's all about becoming he is the brand. He is the man who I know will do the best job. What will people say of you as a brand, too? And that's what people were telling about me in my career. They knew they can rely on me for whatever reason may be. I wasn't selling a product, I was selling myself, I was selling my services. So it's all about that too, as each individual business owner here. What are you saying? If I went outside and spoke to 5 to 10 people, what would they say about you, personally and your business? Would it be all the same thing? That is your brand. You don't get to choose the brand. A lot of times you have to make sure that you make it and that you are the one crafting it. It's not about, again, like I said, the logo, website, flyers, social media. Those are the vehicles, the tools to get you there. In my business, like I was talking about before, it's all about storytelling. TV has to be a visual medium. Radio was all about audio. We have to tell a story. Why does somebody care about hearing from this person? When we are interviewing somebody, why do they care? Because if we don't do the work, that person may not be able to come across right. It affects our brand too. CNBC is a very specific brand. I don't know how many people know that. We'll raise their hands at that channel. Financial news channel has a specific brand to it. We're rebranding in a lot of ways MS Now, the former MSNBC. So that's doing something, rebranding. We are going to put ourselves out there, but you will decide if you like it or not. That I can't change. I could be there, just like you are, as a business owner. When I call you, are you going to be able to tell me what I need to hear? Are you going to be there for me whenever I need something? That's what, like my guy, the contractor, always there, always giving me an answer. Anybody I send him to, he's good for. He recently had a party. I met a lot of his clients. It was like all of us were twins, saying the same exact thing about this man. And so that is his reputation, that is his brand. You say the name, his name is Costa, they know exactly who you're talking about. So that is what, and discussing like who you are, why you're doing things, why you're involved in this business, gives more to the customer, to anybody that you're going to deal with, than just saying, well, I own a jewelry store, I sell jewelry. There could be a whole history behind that. Why did you get involved? That will make the difference, and that's what storytelling is all about. So I just want you to remember that. Think about when you're introducing yourself, talking about your businesses, what is it behind that has made you both successful, talk about your failures, talk about all that. It's that human connection. I was just talking to this gentleman here. We were saying about how social media has changed the way we do things. Everybody's on their phone. This is like a unique situation where one person is speaking to a group of people. Usually people on the phone, we're doing different things. I go to different restaurants, people are actually communicating with each other on the phone instead of talking. But we were also talking about how AI is changing the game, but it cannot replace human interaction, especially with small businesses. You can do whatever you like with every ChatGPT, Grok, whatever you want to do for your business. But I'm not coming there because Grok told me to. I might start looking at it, what's going on with this business? Let me see, My trust is more important than a flashy logo, a sign. Tell your story and don't be afraid to do it at any time. Because again, one thing to remember, you are your brand.